Welcome to NET Vaper Reviews. Today's review is a new RTA mouse too long, the Pioneer from BP Mods. Right, yes indeed, this tank I am super happy with. But before we talk about it, I've been using this now for a few days. But first we'll see how I built the deck and talking about the tank as I'm taking it out from the box and going through various things I discovered while I was doing the wick and coiling. And then we'll talk about it a bit more and I'll tell you what I think of this tank. Well, you know I'm super happy, but we'll talk about a bit more about it. Okay, see you in a second. Right, so here's the Pioneer RTA by BP Mods, and it comes like in a sleeve. It tells you in the back what you get in the box. Designed by BP Mods, manufactured by Dovpo. Yeah, so I heard quite a lot of good things about this RTA and I'm eager to try it. So let's see what you get here. Okay, you get the normal warranty, I suppose. Oh, no, this is the instructions. It gives you a smiley and all sorts of light-hearted. Tells you what kind of coil to use. Yeah. Alright, so here's the tank, and it comes with two different, I think it's plastic, and another two mouthpieces. And let's see what's in accessories. Those are the pins that we're going to use soon for the deck. There is a 0.8, 1.2 and a 1.5, I think. It should be written on it in any case. And two coils, and a few screws and O-rings. Okay, so let's have a look what we've got here. So this is like a smoky glass, plastic, and this is Ultim, and the tank itself is a clear sort of semi-frosted type. Straight away I can tell you I don't like this mouthpiece. So probably I'll change it to the clear one. Okay, and you get another Ultim mouthpiece as well. So let's put this away, and all comes color coded. Very nice. Okay, so let's see. So compact size tank, not very big. Apparently there is an extension, but this is the ordinary tank, I suppose 2 mil. I'll put in the description exactly how much it holds. So this is the mouthpiece, and this comes off, and we can change it already to the other one. I might as well put this back in here, and we'll use the clear one. Now you have to be careful, this is a plastic threading, so gently. Two O-rings on the mouthpiece. Okay, the juice, semi-turn. You can see these two little notches. So it's a half-turn type of, very comfortable to open. Yeah. And here's your juice, the tank. Serial number on the top. Okay, now let's have a look at the deck. Now, 1 minute, the airflow. First you got this line of small holes, all I think similar size. It's just when you close it, you close your airflow or you open it, and you got another opening here, this one here, this one here, wide open. And the airflow will depend on the pins that on the 510 pin. Come to that in a minute. Let's have a look at the deck. So it screws into the chimney. Okay, we'll see to the deck in a minute. Now this is plastic. It's a lot more sturdy than the cog, for instance, but it's also plastic. In the cog, the chimney is also plastic. This is metal, some kind of material metal, but so this should really be able to screw off. See, I don't want to force it. Why is it not coming off? You don't want to force it because of the yeah, so it's anti-clockwise. You don't want to force it because this is plastic, and it's a threading as well. So what I would do, I would actually put VG here just to give it a bit of lubrication. Yeah, this is metal, and look at the size of this chimney. Tiny size. Yeah, very small. So I might as well put some VG here already, because I don't want, if you're gonna force this open, you might crack this, you might dislocate the threading, and then you're asking for trouble, because this is plastic. Yeah, now it's much easier. So what you do is you hold the metal and you just twist off the plastic, or hold the plastic and twist off the metal, but not in both, because then you might damage the threading. Okay, so the chimney is tiny chimney, very, very small chimney, and this is normally for good flavor. Okay, let's see what the deck is like. Okay, it's a parallel post, one next to each other, with quite decent juice wells, with small openings at either side for the juice to get in. So when you wick, you have to be careful not to block these channels. But the deck looks a very nice deck. And here's the airflow right in the center. Now the pin, I just want to check to see what size pin this is, because I want to, you know what, let's build the deck first and then we'll change the pin. Okay. So, should we use their coil? Because I've got over here, I have a coil that I made myself, round wire coil, Kentel 26 gauge. Let me see the size of this coil. I've got here another one. I think I'm going to use my own coil. Okay, so screwdriver. This is a very, this is a flat. This is a very simple deck to work on. Very simple. Okay, let's feed in the coil. Just open up a bit more. I think I'll bend it a bit, just that it should fit in better. Let me get my that's it, it's in. Okay, now this is a fairly spaced out coil. Let me tighten it first, then I'll show you. You can see it's a fairly spaced out coil, but since it's sort of more like a dripper's deck, as you can see, the juice flow, the juice wells are like open design, not within a juice well enclosure. So it's more like a RDA or dripper type of style, a bit similar to the R, but the R was not parallel coils to each other, but a similar type of concept of deck. But here you've got the juice channels. That's the difference. Okay, let's see what ohms. 0.98. I think now I will trim it. Let me just make sure it's in a good location. I think maybe I'll just get it a bit more central. Yeah, perfect. Right, let me cut the leads off. As usually they go flying by me. Someone suggested me to get a magnet to catch the cuttings. Quite clever idea. Okay, let's fire it. You don't really need to fire, because that's why I did it a bit spaced. Yeah, we don't need to really dry fire this type of coil, because it's quite spaced. Okay, let's see the ohms. 1.05. I was aiming for 1 ohm, but that's good enough. I wonder what coil they give. Maybe I'll use this after using this for a few days. We'll give it a go. Let me see what kind of coil. This is a Clapton coil. A Clapton coil. Okay, we'll see. Now I want to change the pin, because I think the default pin is a 0.8 millimeter, and apparently it becomes so tight, the draw, that it wouldn't make much of a difference if you open or close your. So what you do is you hold your fingers on both posts, so nothing comes apart. And this is, it's written on it. It's so small you can hardly see. You see the pin itself is the airflow. You see, let me just put the deck here. You see the little hole in the center and on the sides. Yeah, so let's see what else they give you. It should be written on it. So this is a 1.2. I doubt very much if you'll be able to see this in the camera. But you can see it's a bit of a bigger hole. Okay, so this is the 1.2. And I'm looking for, which one is this one? Is the 1. Oops. Okay, I'll pick it up later. 1.5. Yeah, this is a 1.5. So you can see that the hole is bigger still. I think I'm going to put in the 1.5, so like this I have more control with the airflow through the airflow system. And if I don't like it, I could always change it down to 1.2. See, I want to have control if I want to do a area mouth to long or tighter mouth to long. So I have an option. Yeah, let me just lift this a bit. Okay. Right, let's tighten this fully. And straighten this out again. It always happens when you tighten it fully. It moves out of place a bit lower. Get it fairly low onto the airflow, and let's wick it. Okay. If you could hear some noises, simply it's very warm. I had to open the window, so you might hear some other noises. I don't want the air conditioner on, but some fresh air. Okay, let's see what is the size of this deck. See, I'm gonna cut it right by the end of the deck. Same here. Let's give it a bit of a fluff. And tuck them in. You see, you want to keep this channel clear so the juice can actually get in and moisten the wick. I'm especially not thinning them because it's quite a large deck, so I don't think it needs thinning, but in the next few days we'll see how it goes, and then I'll update you when I finish this review. So it should look like this. So you have both sides here clear from the wick, and like a RDA, just get them in. It's easy as anything. Right, the juice I'm using today is the American blend from Drake's. Okay. I suppose if you have it all depends what kind of liquid you put in. Also, if you put in a thinner liquid, a 50-50 blend, then you want to put in a bit less cotton. But this is a 70 VG. give them moisten a bit. Okay, let's take this off and let's put it in the tank itself. Put this aside. So you must make sure that you cut your leads right up, because this is such a small chimney. If it touches the chimney, you get a short straight away. Now this tank, I must tell you straight away, I notice that you must handle with this a bit gently, because this, you see, I'm trying to get it into the threading, and it just doesn't want to so you need to really ease it in. That's it, now it's in. I'll have to keep an eye on this point, because you have to really align it and not over tighten it, that's for sure. Okay, let's put in the juice. Now I'm looking forwards to see the flavor and how it works, and because apparently this is meant to be a very good tank. I think this is more than 2 mil, but I'll put it in the description below. Okay. Okay, this is all done and ready to vape. Now I need to get a mod for this. I'm looking for, because at the moment I'll use this, the Vaper Tarot baby. I've got my K-Phone light on. So I want to get something similar sized as this, and if I do get one in the next day or two, because I'll review it as well. I've got something in mind. Hopefully later today I will order it. Okay, let's sort out the airflow. Another thing, the airflow seems quite stiff when it's on a mod. So okay, now this is fully open. Fairly good airflow. Let's switch this on. Let's see what ohms it comes up to. Oh, a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Switch on. 0.98 ohm coil. 16 watts. Very nice airflow. So I've used the 1.5, didn't I? Yeah. Because this is the 1.2. This is the 0.8. This is the 1.2. So this must be the 1.5, and it's fully open, as you can see over here. For me, this is perfect airflow. And the flavor is very good. Okay, I'm gonna vape this now for a few days, and we'll finish off this review, and I'll tell you what I think of it after a few days using it. But so far I can tell you that I like the airflow. Now it's a bit easier to close. Let me close it down a bit. Quite tight. So the 1.5 I think is the best solution to do the airflow, and then you play with it on the airflow setting, the external airflow setting, to get your fine-tuned. Well, you can definitely get a very tight mouse to long draw. I don't like it so tight, If you put the 0.8, it'll be very tight, and the 0.2 you could even get it tighter than this one, but then this is fully open now, and I think that's the way I like it. Let me try the other opening. Now this is open fully on the other side. Bit airy. Hardly can do a direct along, no way. It could, but it's quite tight. Yeah, very uncomfortable. No. So I prefer the other one, this one, with the small holes, fully open. Perfect mouth to long draw for me. Okay, until I'll finish this review in a few days. For you will be in a second. So you've seen how I built and wicked at the time. Now what do I think of this tank after a few days? Well, we start with the cons, the pros. You see, the cons, I hardly found any. This is a hassle-free tank. I never had no issues with this tank in the last few days I've been vaping it, except for one, but that is a technical thing and I'll come to it in a minute. Right, let's start first with the airflow. The airflow is super smooth. I used, as you've seen below, the 1.5 pin. If you use the 0.8 pin that was in the tank when it came, and I think that's the only pin that's actually not written on it what it is, because you go 1.2 and a 1.5, and in those it's written clearly. And the 0.8 I couldn't find any writing. If you put in the 0.8, it really, what it does, it makes the airflow, the external airflow, redundant, because the airflow becomes so tight you can't really make it any area if you want to through the airflow. The 1.2 it makes it a bit more airy, but still tight. You could already control a bit the airflow. The 1.5, I think, for me, is the most suitable 510 pin, because now I can control it fully through the airflow. Now, for me, the ideal airflow is fully open on the the smaller holes, as you've seen below. You've got two types of airflow, the smaller holes and the one that's fully open. Now, when you want to change the airflow when the tank is on the mod, because you're turning it anti-clockwise, it unscrews the tank many times. So what you do is, really, either you take off the tank and do your airflow and then put it back, or you really need to do it, you tighten it fully and then you do it gently. If you do it gently, it will turn. Okay, that's a minor niggle. But anyway, I keep it on fully open on this setting, because the other one that's fully open is a bit noisier. This is completely silent. Well, you hear the whish of the air, but now the build quality here is superb. If you think that because this is what they call a PCTG, it's like a high grade plastic, is it like the cog? No, the cog is lesser quality. Although that you're screwing your deck onto a plastic. And that brings me to another point, that when you put back your deck, you really need to be careful, because I find it a bit difficult to find the threading on occasion. So when you screw back the deck into this section, you need to do anti-clockwise until you get in the threading and then start turning, and you'll hear like a little squeaking noise. Now, it doesn't make a difference how much VG I put. I normally put VG on the threading of this. I'll show you. Let me take one out so I can show you. This is the smoked glass. You can see that there is a threading on one side and the other side just goes to the top. and yeah, and then the threaded goes in to the top one, and the bottom one you screw in the deck to the chimney. Yeah, so I always put a VG on the threading, so when I screw it on top of this section here, it goes in nice and easy. And then I put on the deck as well, on the inner part of the chimney where the deck screws into, I also put a bit of VG to aid the ease of screwing and unscrewing the deck to this plastic. That's the only thing that you have to be careful. But if you are careful, you have no problem. Also, when you open this section, always hold the metal and turn it anti-clockwise. Never hold them both, because you might damage the delicate threading on the plastic, on the plastic bit. Other than that, as one more issue I wanted to just mention, and I wonder if any of you experienced it. When I put in the coil, I put in a spaced coil of a round wire cancel. Now, I experienced spitback on occasion, and it's not very pleasant when you get this burning hot liquid on your tongue, right? It gives it a burn. So I was wondering if it's the spaced coil or not. So what I did, I took out the spaced coil and I put in a different coil not spaced, very tight coil, without any gaps, completely, not spaced. A similar ohmage, it's a 0.98, it's a 1 ohm coil. And then the spitback, I didn't have any spitbacks. So what I think is if you have a spaced coil, you might get spitback. So my advice is I have to test it further, but over the last few days, that's what I discovered. It's an interesting point. Because you got gaps between the coil and the cotton, so the bits of cotton that in the space coil, when you're firing your coil, it sizzled the liquid, and sometimes you will get a spitback up to your mouth. But since it's not spaced, so there's no spitback. That's something that I experienced, and I solved it by putting in non-spaced coil. In regards of the cotton, you see how I wicked it. Since then, I changed my wick. I tried thinner wick, and then I experienced a bit of leakage through the air hole, the air airflow system. When I took off the deck, I noticed that the deck was saturated. Now, I have the same problem. So let me come to the solution to that. You put in thicker wick. Really, you need to wick this like an RTA. So you don't come out your wick. Put in enough wick into the coil that it's got a bit of resistance, but do not comb the sides. Just fluff them, tuck them in nicely into the, to the juice wells, and leave that channel where the liquid comes in clear. So the liquid gets into those two channels on the side of the deck, moistens your cotton. And since I'd done those things, non-spaced coil, thicker cotton, not combing them out, I've got hassle-free, superb flavor, but superb. I'll stand up to the Steam Crave glass mini. It will stand up to what else have I got here? I haven't got so many tanks up here. It's better flavor than the cog, and the cog is very good flavor, but it's because this chimney, if you can see, is so it's condensed, and it's a very long run, narrow run. So the flavor is so condensed. You're getting. I'm going here the Drake's American blend. The flavor is so defined. It is superb. Another thing, the mouthpiece is so comfortable. See, I thought initially that this mouthpiece wouldn't be so comfortable because it's such a small, narrow bore and long. I wish they had this mouthpiece on the R. Now, the R, I've got a love-hate relationship, especially with the juice flow. The juice flow here is so, you need to get it right. It's, if you have your juice flow too open, you flood your deck. If you're using a mouth to long coil on 16, 18 watts. This problem wouldn't occur if you put in a 0.3 or 0.4 direct to long coil with loads of wick. You wouldn't get that problem. It's mouth to long is the problem. And I mastered it by, well, I want to bore you by my way of doing it, but I counted the clouds between the fully open point to the fully closed point, and then I went always one cloud below, lower until I found the sweet spot for my mouth to long coil with the wick that fit into a mouth to long coil that shouldn't overflow. But that's another issue. The review is today on the Pioneer, but I just wanted to tell you that this mouthpiece is so much more comfortable than this mouthpiece. Is no comparison in the comfort of this mouthpiece. It's so comfortable. I love this mouthpiece. Also, the design of this mouthpiece is to avoid condensation because it's clear. Because it's a long run, you don't get condensation. It doesn't go like, for instance, wider to narrow like a lot of the mouthpieces. It's a similar design to the K-Fon Prime, but this is a bit thicker, bigger, and it's steel, but it's a similar concept. Now, these rings are around on the mouthpiece itself. It's to avoid the mouthpiece getting hot, and it does a marvelous job. To put in your liquid, it's just easy. It's just a semi-twist, and that's it. Now, one advice I have is, do not open, if you want to add juice, do not open it while the tank is full. You wait till it goes fairly down. If your tank is fairly full and you open it, you lose your vacuum. So then you might get a bit of gurgling for a few vapes. The solution for it, if you really want to add juice while it's still full, is to twist it. And while you twist it, you turn it upside down. So then you take the air pressure gets up. I don't know how it works, but it works. It sorts out the air pressure in the chamber. What else could I tell you? That's it. But it's perfect tank. I mean, I love this tank. Let me show you a size comparison. It's exactly the same size as the COG. So it's a compact size. I will put in I'll put in below as well 48.3 millimeters, and this is a 22 millimeter. Now I got myself a mod for this tank, so the next review I'll show you what I chose for this tank. This mod really is for my K-Fon Light, or for when I test my liquids, if you've seen the Amit mouth to long RTA. But anyway, I bought a new tank for this, a new mod for this tank. Next review I'll show you. Beautiful mod, small compact. Next review. What else could I tell you about this tank that I haven't mentioned? You will see all the specification I put below. I think it's one of the best RTAs mouth to long that came out for this year. I think so. It is a comfortable mouth to long. If you're a mouth to long Vaper, you will find this so comfortable. Now, if you like it very tight, you put in the 0.8, that will make it as tight as anything. But this is a very tight drawer. If I close it fully it will make it really, really tight. And this is with the 1.5. So imagine how it will be with the 1.2 and even further tighter than the 0.8. So you will find your airflow perfect. To put in your juice is easy. Semi-twist and lift. It's not even thread. It's like 2 hooks. You've seen it below. It just fits in nicely and just shuts. The deck is super easy to do. I mean, the coil you just put in. I bend my coils a bit to get them over that dome within the deck, so it just slides in. Put in your coil rod to hold it in place. Tighten the screws. You put in your wick. Don't thin them. Just tuck them in like you do in RTA. And keep those juice channels open. Take care when you screw in the deck. Always put VG. I always do it. Put VG on the threading here and on the threading within the chimney inside. So like this, you can screw this back onto the top easy and the deck easy onto the base, because I change my cotton very often. So I want to make sure that it's fully lubricated. And this holds 3.7 mil. So when I built the deck, I realized straight away it's more than 2 mil. It looks stunning. You've got an option to use the smoked one or the Ultim. The Ultim. I prefer this. I think it looks superb. The flavor is amazing. Amazing. I mean, I've got in here a naturally extracted tobacco, a liquid that I will review. I already reviewed it after I uploaded it, so I wouldn't tell you much about it. It's a delicious vape. And the flavor on this tank, the Pioneer, will stand up to any of my good RTAs. Don't ask me if it's better than the K-Fron Light. K-Fron Light is very expensive. Yeah, this is top end in quality, but mid-range in price. So you're getting for high-end quality tank, and you're paying not so much money for it. This tank with the mod that I bought for this will be the same price as this tank alone. Okay. This is a superb tank, Light 2019. Very difficult to beat this tank in quality and flavor, but the flavor is superb. And this, you will hardly tell a difference between the two in flavor, to be honest. That's all I'm going to say in regards of the K-Fron Light. And the build quality is very good indeed, very good. I will compare it to this one, although the Steam Crave is very sturdy, very solid, but because the chimney is glass, you have to be careful the same way you have to be careful with this when you screw in metal to plastic. So that's more or less where I put it. But as an overall quality of vapor, of flavor, quality of material, looks, price, super comfortable as a mouse to long, I would say this is destined to become, I'm sure a lot of reviewers will put this in the top 3 of 2020. Yeah, I'm super happy with this, and I find myself vaping this all the time. The flavor is so good. The juice tastes so defined, so good. Delicious. And I tried already a few NETs in here. All superb. And it's very comfortable. This setting for me on the 1.5 fully open here is the perfect. I haven't got the true tank here from EH Pro. It's in a different office, but it comes as good as a mouse to long. That was my benchmark for mouse to long. Apparently, Nature Vape is coming out with an upgraded true tank. I'm looking forward to see that one. This is a perfect tank. If you're looking for a hassle-free, top flavor, top quality, Just bear in mind the things I've said in regards of that coil, the space coil. I don't know if you experienced that as well with spitbacks. Since I put in a tight coil, the problem is gone. The wicking do not thin. Okay, I'm repeating myself now, but it's very important you get this right when you first build this tank, so you will have a good, loving relationship with this tank from the word go. But I used it a few days and I discovered a few little pointers. Okay, I think I conclude this review. I'll put in more specifications below. I hope this review was beneficial to you, and if you do vape this tank, please leave your comments and the way if you like it or not. I doubt very much anyone does not like it, but I would like to hear your views as well. Okay, until the next review, take care. Bye bye for now.